Jones channel, a place where listeners will get a balanced perspective of issues affecting the Black community. Here we do not mollycoddle, water down, or soften any blows. This is a stage where both genders are equally scrutinized. Here, there is balance. Hello, this is Faith Jones coming at you with news and perspectives and a little bit of tea today because I'm going to be talking about marriage and cheating and how to get over the betrayal of a cheating spouse. And all of this is coming up as I look at the celebrity news, and I'm looking at Carmelo Anthony and LaLa Anthony's marriage. It looks like it's on the rocks and it's just about over. There are rumors that he has gotten quite a few women pregnant during the marriage, and also he's been cheating on LaLa all throughout the marriage. So that just brings up the question. I mean, how long should you put up with a cheating spouse? I mean, a lot of people would say never put up with a cheater, no matter whether you're married or just in a basic relationship. Once the person cheats, the knee-jerk reaction is end it. And, I don't know if that's practical when a person has been married for as long as Carmelo and LaLa Anthony has been married 14 years. And it isn't like they don't have, things tying them together like property. I think he's worth 90 million and she's worth about 10 million. And they have a child, so I don't know if splitting would be the answer, but it looks like he's been cheating on her since day one. And I don't know, this is one of those touchy, sketchy subjects because I'm never one to say that anybody should just dump their entire marriage. There are plenty of reasons why, people cheat, and there's never actually a good reason why, but there are always reasons. And, if you're looking to save your marriage, and statistics show that women in particular, about 67%, of women who have been cheated on in their relationships, they look to try to salvage the marriage. So not everybody, ditches their spouse, after an infidelity. But when you do stay with the person that has cheated on you, there are certain things that you have to do in order to kind of safeguard and rebuild the relationship. One of the things is, people that are recovering from a hit to their relationship involving cheating, they try to speed up the healing process. Like if you're the person that cheated, you want that other person to hurry up and get over it, and you don't want them mentioning it again, and you just want to put it behind you. But speeding up the reconciliation timetable actually makes things worse in the marriage. The healing process can't be rushed. And it's important for you, the cheating spouse, to realize that the two of you will heal at different rates. And it'll take you much longer to recover from emotional trauma or an extramarital affair especially. And as much as you would like to speed up the process, it has to be done at your own pace. That means you both have different paces and you have to be respectful of that. And this will vary slightly with each individual, but marriage and family counselors say that the healing process can take up to 2 years. So, don't, think that saying I'm sorry is going to heal it for tomorrow. Tomorrow, you may end up having to say sorry again. You might have to say sorry for the next 2-3 years until the person has finally healed and you re-earned their trust. Also, successfully rebuilding a marriage in the aftermath of an affair requires total commitment from both parties involved. If one spouse is working hard to save the marriage, but the other spouse is just going through the motions, or they've secretly made up his mind to leave, then it's impossible for a reconciliation to take place. Saving a marriage is hard work, and both of you have to be totally committed to the task. If you work at it, you can build a marriage even stronger than you had before. But if you need to be sure, that reconciling is what you really want to do. You really have to ask yourself, do you really want to save your marriage? Do you want to take this cheating person back? And failure to understand and empathize with what the other person is feeling can also be detrimental to the healing process. Now, a cheating spouse may not understand the full extent of how their infidelity has traumatized the betrayed spouse. So, the other person may be totally unaware that their cheating spouse is struggling with deep seated feelings of shame, guilt, and embarrassment. Now that the affair has been exposed, both of you need to empathize with each other's feelings and understand that those feelings affect the healing process. So, even though you are the person that was cheated on, keep in mind that if this person is being honest with you and they're exposing themselves and they're laying it all out for you, there are a lot of feelings of exposure, of being completely open that person is experiencing. And you have to be mindful of their feelings as well, even though they hurt you. And also, you can't repair anything if you are in revenge or punishment mode. Revenge or punishment mode rather than reconciliation mode. It's time consuming and it's counterproductive for you to concern yourself with punishing your cheating spouse by seeking revenge or trying to pay them back for having the affair in the first place. Your interest should be best served if you focus your energy and efforts on what the two of you can do to get the derailed marriage back on track. Being unduly concerned with the opinion of your family and friends can also be a marriage killer. You're trying to reconcile. You need to really, listen to each other and not other people. Family and friends who know about the affair will want to offer helpful advice on what you should do, and they will have differing opinions about how you should treat your cheating spouse and whether or not your marriage can or should be saved. Most of them will tell you that you should leave. And trying to cover for infidelity is difficult enough without having to concern yourself with the opinions of people who are on the outside looking in. Unless they are qualified professionals, ignore their advice and do what you think is best for you. Only you can tell whether you should stay or go. Nobody else can make that decision for you. Also, you need to address your two biggest fears in the relationship. Now, the two biggest fears that you'll experience after taking your cheating spouse back is, number one, the fear that they're going to cheat behind your back. And number two, the fear that they're going to cheat on you again and you won't know. You will no longer trust your own judgment. And it will come times when, there'll be signs of infidelity because, like most betrayed husbands and wives, you were probably the last to know. Everybody else knew but you. So to keep from driving yourself and your spouse crazy with constant suspicion, the best way to deal with your hypervigilance is to educate yourself about infidelity and invest in good infidelity reference books and and self-help materials. Harboring resentment because his life or your life is now an open book because you have to come clean about the situation. Now, your cheating spouse may resent the fact that in order to regain your trust, he or she may have to share all passwords with you, stay in constant contact with frequent phone calls, and when they're not with you, this could be kind of tricky, especially if you guys are busy and have busy, lives. They may have to clear their itinerary with you and inform you of their whereabouts at all times. These things are necessary, and it's a part of rebuilding broken trust. And your husband or wife, must continue to do them until you feel that you can trust them again, especially if you want to save the marriage. Again, the healing process is not going to be an overnight thing. Again, experts estimate that it can take up to 2 years to trust again. So saying sorry, once again, I have to reiterate this. Saying sorry is just the first step, but it is not the only step. You have to actually put in the work. And this is the work that people don't want to put in. They don't want to actually open themselves to rebalancing their marriage. They don't want to be an open book. They don't want to give all their passwords and make those necessary frequent check-in phone calls because you messed up. And you have to understand, you messed up. So this is what you have to do in order to make it right. These things are necessary. Once again, part of rebuilding broken trust in your spouse. And then you must continue to do them until they trust you again. And if you're serious about wanting to save your marriage, you will do this willingly and comply by making your life that open book so that you can build that bridge back to trust. When you fail to put some type of checks and balances in place, you're not reassuring your spouse that they can trust you again. You need to have a way to reassure yourself that your spouse is being totally honest with you. So, asking them for these checks and balances. I know a lot of people, they don't want to ask, for the person's password because they think that it's making them appear needy and insecure. But if you don't have a way of reassuring yourself that your spouse is being totally honest with you and is not still carrying on the affair or communicating with the other person behind your back, you should have a method in place that allows you to check up on the spouse that cheated on you and their activities, either with or without their knowledge, for your own peace of mind. You need to be able to confirm for yourself the identity of anyone that person is calling now, whether they're texting, emailing, or associating with. Fortunately, there are discreet and affordable online services that can help, keep tabs on a cheating mate. And I know a lot of people may, hear me saying this and say, wait a minute, Faith, you're talking about, just checking up on this person like they're a kid, and if the trust in the relationship is gone, well, the marriage is over. Well, the person, gave you a valid reason not to trust them. And if you're looking to stay with that person, if you're gonna stay, you're gonna have to put those checks and balances in place for your own peace of mind. And if that person is really sorry and they really want to reconcile, they will understand why these checks and balances are necessary. Sorry isn't enough. You have to actually put in the work to build the bridge back to trust. And anyone who doesn't agree with that obviously has never been married and has never experienced that type of betrayal in their life. So, once again, if you can't do that, if you don't want to agree to doing these things, then maybe separation is the best thing for you. But if you're gonna stay, yes, the checks and balances are necessary. Also, it's not good for you to have these checks and balances and not give the cheater positive reinforcements. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's important to give the cheater positive feedback and encouragement on their efforts to make amends to you. Otherwise, this person could start to feel that all their efforts are in vain. So, if this person is being an open book and they're complying with, the checks and balances that you both agreed upon, then he would like to feel like, hey, this is working, that they're not just spinning their wheels or trying to reach an unobtainable goal. If you don't let the person know that, hey, this is working, I'm starting to feel, a little bit better now, that person may just give up and leave or reinitiate their affair because they don't see how anything that they're doing is actually helping the marriage or the relationship, because you haven't changed. You're still giving them the cold shoulder. So make sure that you give positive reinforcements as you heal throughout the relationship to let the person know it's working and your efforts are not in vain. This is part of the rebuilding trust process. And also, don't have unrealistic expectations of the healing process. During the aftermath of an affair, a marriage is in a very fragile state. Your emotions will be too. Your cheating spouse may become impatient. Your emotions will fluctuate wildly from week to day or day to day or from hour to hour. It's unrealistic to expect the marriage to stabilize itself by a certain date. That's the reason why, I said earlier, give yourself time to heal. Don't be unrealistic. Sorry isn't enough. It takes time, lots of it, time and lots of work. Most marriage and family counselors agree that it takes at least 2 years for a couple to fully recover. And I can't stress it enough. Give it the proper time that it deserves if you really want to save your marriage after an affair. Don't set yourself up for disappointment by expecting your marriage to return to normal by a certain date. You're sitting up here, getting frustrated with your spouse saying, I said I was sorry, and, you should just take my apology and stop bringing up old stuff, and I'm sick and tired of you constantly bringing it up, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. No. Give it the proper time to heal. And also, don't give up so soon. The worst thing you can do is abandon your marriage prematurely without allowing sufficient time for the healing process to take place. That may take, like I said, 2 years, as long as 2 years. Variables like the type of circumstances of the affair, the length of the marriage, and other factors can further increase the length of time it takes to heal. If you really want to save your marriage, both of you need to hang in there long enough to see positive results. And once again, keep other people out of your business. The only person that knows whether or not your marriage is salvageable are you two. Nobody else can make that decision for you. Now, I would say that when a person cheats, they do so for many reasons. Sometimes, it's for selfish reasons because they just think that they're entitled. And then other times it's because of things that they're not getting in the marriage. And it's really important that you listen to each other and find out what it is that's missing and be open to changing if need be. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I shouldn't have to change myself. That's narcissistic thinking. Because once you're married, you're no longer just one person. You're a unit. And so in order for the unit to function properly together, there is going to have to be some kind of changes and compromises on both of your ends. It can't just be a one-way street. So if you were the person that got cheated on, you have to ask yourself, take a look at yourself. I mean, I know that a lot of times people don't like to do this. They think that, hey, I'm the injured party. Why should I have to look at myself when this person wronged me? But you have to look at, okay, am I a loving, nurturing spouse? Did I give this person everything that they needed to thrive in this marriage? Did I possibly push them over the edge? And these are valid questions to ask. Because if a person is unhappy, that energy of unhappiness has to go somewhere. Nobody can live their life in constant turmoil. They are going to seek to make themselves happy by any means necessary. But enough of the marriage lesson. I want to get into talking about LaLa and Carmelo Anthony. I was doing some reading up on this relationship, and it just seems to me that they've been married for about 14 years, as I said earlier. And, Carmelo Anthony has had all types of rumors and allegations that he's cheated all throughout the relationship. There's even a baby mama that they know of that he's confirmed, some lady in Chicago that he was messing around with that has his child. So, this is a child that he made during the marriage. And now there's rumors that there might be yet another baby mama, some stripper. He's denying it, of course, but, maybe, he did it the one time, who's to say that he didn't do it again? And the thing that kind of makes me feel like, and I'm just an outsider looking in, once again, those two are the only two people that can really say whether their marriage is salvageable. But when I look at a cheater, the first thing that I look at is how remorseful are they, for the cheating. And, in the past, he's justified his cheating on LaLa by saying that LaLa is married, but I'm not. And that's pretty, it's to me, that statement in and of itself is narcissistic. And it just screams that I don't care about the other person. And, if he's been saying this from day one, and his whole attitude has been that, hey, I'm a pro athlete and this is what we do, then his whole premise going into the marriage was false. And so this is a marriage built on lies that might have just turned into something that was just a convenience or a business contract. So, looking at this marriage and analyzing it from an outsider's perspective on, just different things that I've read about this marriage in the media, it just doesn't seem like he came into this marriage totally committed from the very beginning. And, this is one thing that, draws the huge red flag of maybe it's not salvageable. Now, most people, when they get married and the marriage was built on a loving relationship from the very start, and then somehow there were communication breakdowns during the marriage, or, there were certain needs during the marriage that didn't get met. Those marriages to me are more repairable because it was built on love in the first place. But when you get a marriage that's kind of like LaLa and Carmelo's, where he just didn't seem to have much respect for his vows to begin with, how can you build off of a foundation that was never there? Love was never the foundation, in my opinion. Once again, I don't know these two, and I don't know exactly what sparks or chemistry they had when they first met. But if he met her and he cared anything about her, then there wouldn't have been so much infidelity so early on in the marriage. Usually the infidelity doesn't come until much later on, and after there has been so much tension in the marriage that built up, that pushed you to the point of cheating, or there were so many needs not being met. But I seriously doubt that Carmelo's needs, it looks like the need to have sex with many women. I mean, he has a beautiful woman in LaLa. So, I don't understand exactly what need it was that she could not have met for him. So it just seems that he just walked right into that, just disrespecting the entire relationship from the very beginning. It looks like to me, as an outsider looking in, he saw her as a prize. She's high yellow, she has those beautiful implants, and, she's gorgeous, beautiful face, beautiful body. And, this is his ideal trophy wife. Every man has his ideal of, what type of wife he wants as far as aesthetically. And she has a nice career, she's done well for herself. So she's not, nothing to sneeze at. Not by any means. So I can see why he would, throw a ring on her. But did he do it for the right reason? Did he go into the relationship saying, hey, you know what? This is it. The buck stops here. I found her. I don't think he did. Because for someone to go around saying LaLa is married, but I'm not, and I'm a pro athlete, and this is just how we do, he just went in there like, hey, I'm going to take her off the market, selfishly for myself. I don't want nobody else to have her. I just want her for myself. This is my trophy. I'm going to, pull her off the shelf when I need to, parade something around and say it's all mine. But, when we're away from each other, hey, LaLa's married, not me. To me, a person that has this type of mentality, I don't know if this marriage can be salvaged. I really don't. And this is just my personal opinion. If I were her, and I was dealing with something like this for this long, she stayed in it long enough, and she dealt with the first infidelity, and, him having a child with another woman, which is like a slap in the face to anyone, male or female. When you're married and your spouse steps out, and not only do they step out, it's hurtful enough when they step out and they have sexual relationships with other people, and they're giving affection to someone else that they should be giving to you. But then now they're building a whole other family outside of your household. And you're having to deal with a whole nother group of people that you should not have had to deal with. So, LaLa has a lot to deal with this person. He seems to be extremely narcissistic and not thinking of his son. Not only did he cheat on LaLa, but he's also cheated on his son, because now he has an outside child that he has to take time and attention away from his child that he had within his marriage, and give this child outside his marriage attention and time. So, there's a lot of time and attention going away from the household as a result of this man's actions. And, like I said, I don't know if that can be reconciled, especially when you're bringing outside children into the equation. I would just suggest that those two, if they're going to try to make this work, which I don't think so. I don't really think they should. But if they're going to, they're going to need a lot of counseling. And that counseling is going to have to include their child as well, because he has not only hurt his wife, but he has also inflicted pain on that child as well. And it's not just the child inside his marriage, but also the child outside the marriage. How does that child grow up, knowing that his mother was just a side piece, and he's going to grow up knowing that he's a bastard. His daddy, didn't care enough about his mother to put a ring on her finger or make sure that he wasn't married when he conceived them. So, there's a lot of damage being done by this individual, this narcissistic person. And I just, my heart goes out to LaLa. I'm sorry, but I'm all the way on her side with this because, yeah, a lot of people will say that, she took a role on Power where she, had to, bare her breast or whatever. But LaLa is an actress, that was a role that she played. What was his excuse? He wasn't playing a role when he was out there cheating with all those women and making these babies outside of marriage. That was not a role. That was something that he did in real life. And that damage that he did is irreparable because now not only is he a cheater, but now he's making babies. He's making outside children outside the household. So now he has a irreparable condition that he has put his family in, and she has to deal with his condition. It's not like he can just say I'm sorry and they can build a marriage and move on. Every time he has to deal with his outside children and his outside women that he had these children with, she has to deal with them as well and be reminded of that infidelity. So this is the damage that his narcissistic behavior has befallen upon this marriage. And anyone, making statements that LaLa, has any type of wrongdoing in any of this, well, I would have to say that they would need to have their heads re-examined because LaLa doesn't have any outside children that she's bringing into the marriage from other men. But this guy has outside children that he's introducing into the marriage. And he's done this not once, but twice. Well, allegedly twice. We don't know if this person, the stripper that says she's several months pregnant, is really pregnant with his child. But, the allegation is there, and he's not denying that he hasn't slept with her. So, once again, the damage has been done, and it's irreparable damage at that. It's damage that they both have to live with, damage that is now his condition that he imposed on her. If anyone, for 1 second is getting this twisted, look at it from that perspective. I'm all for, people saving their marriages. I'll be the last person to say that anybody should end their marriage because to me, marriage is a big deal, especially if you have children. But the deal breaker for me is when you have a person that is like Carmelo Anthony and how he obviously went into this marriage with ill intent to begin with. Ill intent that he probably did not disclose to her from the very beginning. She thought she was getting a person that was going to be completely committed to the marriage. And she found out quickly that it was all a lie. He wasn't committed. As he stated, LaLa's married, but I'm not. I'm a pro athlete. This is what we do. And that has been how he's treated this thing from the very onslaught. And to me, once again, the foundation just was never there. Now, allegedly he wants to make amends. He wants to try to make a last ditch effort to save the marriage. And I don't know. It just seems like too little too late. That's what it seems like. He now that he sees that, she's really fed up. And it's been several months they've been separated. So that's some fed up for you. Several months, LaLa is done. And I can't say I blame her. When I spoke earlier about giving a cheater, giving the marriage time to heal after an affair, Well, she stayed in it for 14 years. I think that's enough time. And then he repeated the situation again, and there's a threat for her to have yet another baby mama to deal with. Yeah, I don't blame her. I would be just about done too. Well, anyway, I'm not going to make this a long one, but this is Faith Jones coming at you again with another one of my videos. Please like, share, and definitely subscribe. Have a good one.